welcome back to English Literature with Sumi. So this is the continuation of the Victorian Age part 2. So let's see the highlights of today's video. Today we'll be discussing about the novelist and the prose writers. We have already discussed about the poets and the other things about the Victorian Age in our previous video. If you have not yet watched the previous video, the link is in the I button. You can just click on the link and you can watch the video. So let's get started. Before I proceed on to describe each one of the novelists, I would like to point out who are the novelists that we are going to deal with in today's video. They are Charles Dickens, the Brontes. Brontes means the Bronte sisters. Okay, you will come to know about them later in the video. Then George Eliot. Okay, so these are the novelists that we are going to discuss in today's video. So, the first novelist is Charles Dickens, dates 1812 to 1870. We all have heard the name of Charles Dickens, right? So, he is one of the most famous Victorian novelists. So, his works include Sketches by Boz, The Pickwick Papers, Oliver Twist, Nicholas Nickleby, The Old Curiosity Shop, Barnaby Rudge, David Copperfield. And if you want to read more about his works, his other works include Bleak House, Hard Times, Little Dorrit, A Tale of Two Cities, Great Expectations, Our Mutual Friend, and an unfinished work also, that is The Mystery of Edwin Drood. So, out of these works, if you could just point out the famous works, it would be, according to my viewpoint, it would be Hard Times and A Tale of Two Cities. A Tale of Two Cities, I think I'll be discussing later in one of my classes. But for me, it would be Hard Times and A Tale of Two Cities because it very vividly portrays the time of his era, and also it explains what the people were going through during that time. So the demand of his novel was enormous. His novel shows interest in social reforms, and they also show a multiplicity of characters and situations. His humor and pathos is excellent, and his style is neither polished nor scholarly, but it is clear and rapid. It doesn't mean that if Dickens is a very great novelist, that his style has to be scholastic or it has to be polished and only could be read by the high aristocratic people. No, it's not like that. But his style is clear and rapid, which could be read even by the common readers of his times. Next up, we have the Brontes. Who are the Brontes? The Bronte sisters, Charlotte Bronte, Emily Bronte, and Anne Bronte, right? So Charlotte Bronte is the eldest of the Bronte sister. Her dates are 1816 to 55. Her works include The Professor, Jane Eyre, Shirley Villet. She brought an energy and passion to the novels that gave the people the wonder and beauty of the romantic world. So it was for the very first time that the romantic world entered into the novels, and people were very liking her novels because of this particular element. Out of these three works, her most famous work is Jane Eyre. Next up, we have Emily Bronte. Dates 1818 to 1848. You all know what is her greatest work. Her greatest work is Wuthering Heights, which is unique in English literature. It carries an unbelievable peak of passion described with a stark, unflinching realism. So, what are the differences? In Charlotte Bronte, you could see the romantic world, beauty of the romantic world. In Emily Bronte's work, you could see the realism, okay, the realistic features. Next we have is Anne Bronte, 1829 to 49. Her works are Agnes Grey and The Tenant of Wildfell Hall area, much inferior to those of her sisters, and she lacks all their power and intensity. So she is the youngest of the Bronte sisters, and her works are inferior if we compare it with the works of her other two sisters, that is Charlotte and Emily. How are they important? Now, why are we reading about them? Why are they important in the Victorian novelist? So basically, they were the pioneers in fiction of the romantic movement, which concerns itself with the bearing of the human soul. They presented a new conception of the heroine as a woman of vital strength and passionate feeling. One such example, powerful example, is Jane Eyre. If any day I get a chance to discuss about the plot or the themes of Jane Eyre, this particular viewpoint will become very clear. because Bronte sisters, neither were the only girls who were writing novels, but they tried to portray in their works that a woman could also be of a vital strength and would also possess passionate feelings. It is not that a woman have to choose either strength or either passionate feelings. She could very well do with her strength as well as her passionate feelings. So this was about the Bronte sisters, Charlotte Bronte, Emily Bronte, and Anne Bronte. So next up we have is George Eliot, another female writer. 1819 to 1880. Her works include Adam Bede, The Mill on the Floss, Silas Marner, The Weave of Raveloe, Romola, Felix Holt the Radical, then Middlemarch, A Study of Provincial Life, and Daniel the Ronda. Out of this, if I have to point out anyone, I think it would be Middlemarch and also The Mill on the Floss. Silas Marner also, but most famous I think it is Middlemarch only. Development of the human soul is an important theme in her works. She managed her plots very skillfully, and her characters are drawn from the lower classes of the society. The moral tone of her novels is lightened by her humor. So even if she would be guiding you about something through her novels or through her dialogues or through her characterization, it would be splashed with a tone of humor, so that it doesn't sound very rude. Okay, whenever some writers teach us about something morally, we feel the tone is very rude or they try to dictate us about something. But in case of George Eliot, you will find that she will be teaching you, she will be guiding you, or she will be giving you moral lessons, but her moral tone will be lightened by her humor. Her dialogues are excellent and she has a great command in idioms. And if you have not yet, if you are very interested in idioms and if you like idioms, you will very well like her novels, because her works are mostly an example of how a writer could use idioms in her writings. So that's what we have to discuss about George Eliot. She's another writer or the novelist of the Victorian age. So now we will be discussing about the prose writers. So here in this video we will be discussing about three important prose writers: Thomas Carlyle, Thomas Babington Macaulay, and John Ruskin. So first up we have Thomas Carlyle, dates 1795 to 1881. His works include The Life of Schiller, his essays on Burns and Scott, historical works like the French Revolution, other works like Oliver Cromwell's letters and speeches, past and present, on heroes, hero worship, and heroic in history. This is one single work, okay, on heroes, hero worship, and heroic in history. So these are some of the works of Carlyle. Now, one thing that just skipped my mind was that the difference between prose writers and novelists. Now, novelists would be those people who are popular for their novels, right? Novel is what? It's a fictional work. And prose writers like Carlyle, they used to write about the age. They used to write down essays. They used to write down letters and speeches about past, present, about heroes of those periods, right? So those are the prose writers. So this is the basic difference between a fiction writer and a prose writer. Okay, so Carlyle's method was essentially biographical. He sought out the hero who could benevolently dominate his fellows to do the better. His other aim was to make history alive. He brought the subject vividly before the reader's eyes with his description. Most notably, his style is his own. So Carlyle's method was biographical. So he tends to bring the hero out in the text that he wrote, in the essays that he wrote, and his hero is one such individual who likes to help others by benevolently, very mildly dominating others to do something better in their life. And his one particular aim, Carlyle's one particular aim is to make history alive with his descriptions. When you pick up any of his essays, as for example, if you pick up the French Revolution, you will find like the descriptions are so vivid and so picturesque that you could actually visualize what was going on during that time. And most notably, his style is his own. That means he doesn't copy anyone else's style. He has a very unique style of his own. So next we have Thomas Babington Macaulay, 1800 to 59. So Macaulay's name, many of the students who are pursuing education or who are into the education field, they might have heard in term related with Macaulay's minute. So none of our discussion about that now. We need to know what kind of a prose writer Macaulay was. So his works include 22 essays for the Edinburgh Review. Edinburgh Review is a magazine, okay? 5 biographies contributed to the Encyclopedia Britannica. I don't need to explain what this the Encyclopedia Britannica means. It's an encyclopedia, of course. Then History of England. It remains an unfinished work. So Macaulay's works include numerous and picturesque details, but it lacked broader outlines and deeper views. So it doesn't have a deeper view, and in his essays, he gave his own views at greater length, and his opinions are often one-sided. Now, what happened is that his works, no doubt, there are picturesque details about it, but it lacked deeper views. So, whenever we pick up an essay, what comes in our mind? That we must be knowing something deeper about that particular topic. Suppose an essay on French Revolution. So if I pick up an essay on French Revolution, what would I have in mind? That I would get some additional information about the French Revolution and a deeper view about the French Revolution by the mouth of the writer or by the writer's point of view. But if you pick up Macaulay, keeping in mind that you will be getting a deeper view about a certain topic, you will be wrong there, because he doesn't give a deeper view about anything. In his essays, he gave his own views at great length. No doubt, he gave his views at great length, but those views are not deeper. He would just jot down his views, and his opinions were often one-sided. One-sided means maybe in terms of the Whig Whig government. So those were one-sided. He doesn't give his viewpoints in terms of the public or the general people. He used to give his viewpoint in terms of the government maybe. So that is why his opinions are considered to be one-sided. So lastly we have John Ruskin, dates 1819 to 1900. So his works include Modern Painters, The Seven Lamps of Architecture, The Stones of Venice, Two Paths, Munera Pulveris, it's an unfinished work, and The Crown of Wild Olive. Now one thing I would like to point out here, if you read the titles of his works, like Painters, Architecture, Stones, Paths, what comes in your mind? Yes, something related to the architecture area, right? So yes, John Ruskin's works are basically about the architecture of that Victorian age in which he was writing. So his prose style is, as an art, is delicate and beautiful. His diction is marked by a sweet and unforced simplicity. His simplicity is such that people would like to read his essays, and it is not complex in style. It is very simple in his language. But his sentences are lengthy. Yes, one drawback of Ruskin is that his sentences are too lengthy, such length that one sentence could be one paragraph also. If you pick up any of his works and if you find out any such line where one line is one paragraph, please comment down below in the comment box. I would like to see how much you are getting to know about our writers, right? His later texts are an example of his use of the language of the Bible. So these are some of the works of our prose. So that's all we have for today's video or today's lectures. So if you like the video, don't forget to hit the like button. Comment down your thoughts regarding the video. If anything that I missed out or you want improvement in any of the sections of the video, please comment down below, and do subscribe to the channel if you are new to our channel, English Literature with Sumi. And if you have not yet watched the previous videos, there are dedicated playlists for each works, like History of English Literature, Development of English Language, and Poetry also. So hope to see you in my next video, and next video will be about a poem. I have not yet decided which poem I will be dealing with, but mostly it will be of any famous poem after Geoffrey Chaucer's Canterbury Tales. So I'll have to find out which poem I must deal with. So I'll post about it, which poem I will be dealing with. Okay, so thank you. Hope to see you in my next video. Bye.